Good to go.
Thank you, Bonnie. Good evening, everyone. It's now 7:02 p.m. on September 9th. I'm going to call this meeting of the Traffic Safety Committee to order. We'll get right into our items as we don't have to read off that long speech anymore, thank God. Scott, I see the first item is a resident emailed expressing the need for an island to be placed at Church Street and Pleasant Street.
Yeah, a resident reached out to us regarding Lower Pleasant. Um, yeah, I'm not sure how long everybody's been residents of town. This predates me, certainly, but Lower Pleasant and Church Street was realigned years and years and years ago to make it more of a teeter intersection. It's actually 60 degrees. It used to be a shallow Y and acute angle. Um, the conversion from an acute angle to a 60 to 90 degree intersection often results in turning movements crossing the WL center line, um, i.e. the stop bar. It's not uncommon. It happens all over the place. We reached out to Sergeant McDonald, do a little research on it, and Josh and Tom talked or emailed back and forth. So if you want to fill us in.
Yeah, I think I looked back 15 years, excuse me, and there's been zero accidents there. So
Okay.
I think they changed it over 20 years ago. It was before I got my license, so I remember when it was Hawaii. But it was a long time ago they changed it. And I don't believe we've had any accidents there in recent memory since it's been changed.
I could probably ask my aunt because she actually lived in that big yellow house right there on the corner for about 35 years. So, um, brought up their entire family there. But either way, so they're saying that people are going over the stop line or the center line.
They're going over the WL center line, which is where the stop bar goes to. I looked through the MUTCD. It is a lot of heavy engineering judgment pieces, which generally leans toward what Tom indicated. Is there a history of accidents,
Right.
close interactions? It doesn't exist, and it can often be detrimental because if a vehicle doesn't expect it to be there, they can pop the curb, and it could be problematic if it's not expected.
Yeah, the complaint is traffic going northbound, like out of the center, taking a left onto Pleasant, but just like bearing left onto Pleasant instead of making it a hard turn. So if you're coming out of Pleasant, someone's coming across the front of you, but like I said, no one's ever hit. So
Yeah. So are we talking left-hand turn from Church onto Pleasant or
yeah,
left-hand turn Pleasant onto
that's how,
Church?
that's how I understood the email. It was a left turn. If you're heading out of the center of town towards 290 and you take a left onto the first Pleasant, Lower Pleasant, they're saying they're like bearing left instead of pulling up and then taking a hard 90-degree left
Right.
hand turn.
Yeah. They're concerned with the conflicting left turn movements on Lower
Yeah.
Pleasant, taking a left on a Church, which very few people do,
Mm.
and Church going outbound, taking a left on a Pleasant. So it's a rare conflicting movement, and it has no history of problems, knock on wood.
Yeah. And as a parent who had kids that I drove to Milliken every morning, sometimes you're diving into that intersection to try to beat the car that's heading towards you or beat the traffic. So um, I can see what the issue is, but you know, personally, I think Scott, I sort of agree with you that I don't think an island is really a solution there. Um, we could get cases too where, somebody in a larger vehicle may not be able to make that turn um, with an island there. What does everyone else think?
Yeah, I agree. If we haven't seen any accidents or anything, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Um,
I would worry about a school bus having to make a left-hand turn with an island there too.
Right.
Definitely.
Yep.
Put an island there, you'd have to re-widen, basically make the road back the way it was, and then put an island. You'd have to widen the whole intersection and then put an island in the middle of it, kind of undoing what they did, 20 something years ago.
I think without a history of accidents, it doesn't make sense to change anything.
Right. Okay. Scott, we don't need any vote or anything to recommend not doing this, correct? To the select board?
Correct.
Unless,
We'll respond to the resident accordingly with the data that PD's provided, and we'll appease the resident's request.
Yeah, and you can
Yeah.
add that, I mean, I'll put it out that we can try to sit somewhere in the area, watch the intersection. If we see any violations, egregious, wrong side of the road turns, we'll stop them accordingly.
We have an island on Hemlock, and sometimes people go in the wrong way. Like they're supposed to go in where they're on the right, and because it's a difficult turn, they'll go in on the wrong way. So sometimes it causes more problems than it solves.
Summer
Patty Lane does
Street
the
is
same
like
thing.
that.
Yeah, Summer Street, yeah, a lot of, yeah.
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, so that'll be our recommendation, and then we'll see where that goes. Next one is the vehicle weight limit for Lincoln Street and Pleasant Street HCVE. I was a little confused when I read through that. So they want us to change from a 5-ton limit, no, from a 2.5 to a 5-ton. Is that right?
Yeah, Mass DOT has their own amendments to the Federal Highway Administration's recommendations, or I'm sorry, guidelines, hence them being guidelines and not regulations. So Federal Highway Administration, their guideline is heavy commercial vehicle exclusions are 5 tons. And if you think back on, I don't know, a lifetime ago and look through the codes and bylaws, our Whitney Street exception is a 5-ton. There's a couple other 5 tons. So Mass DOT is transitioning from a 2.5-ton, which is pretty restrictive, because that includes a landscape truck and trailer, to 5-ton, which is a different classification of vehicle, a little higher or larger vehicle. Because they're in that transition period, they asked if we want to consider changing our request from 2.5 tons to 5 tons. We don't have to do that. Once their Mass DOT's regulations change to be a 5-ton, then in order for us to go from 2.5 to 5, we need to make a request to Mass DOT for their consideration. So we could circumvent that request today by changing it to 5 from 2.5. My recommendation to the committee, considering we've gone through this committee's analysis recommendations to the select board for 2.5, and the select board has voted to request 2.5, that we continue down the 2.5 road. But again, that's open to the committee. It's a simple letter to the DOT district engineer to say we would like to amend it to 5 tons.
But we would have to do that letter through the select board. It wouldn't be
Yes.
from this committee. We would recommend, and then the select board would make the decision.
Yeah.
On the traffic numbers that we did for this heavy vehicle exclusion, did we break out, like, if we do 5-ton, does that bring us under the number of vehicles that would allow us to be able to do the exclusion to begin with?
I haven't looked at that analysis. I'd have to review it with our traffic engineers and find out if it amends it. Lincoln and Pleasant, I doubt it would. The numbers we had on Rice Ave, for example, it probably would. But Lincoln and Pleasant, I'm guessing it wouldn't. So I'm happy to review that information and bring it back to the committee in October to see what the decision is, if you choose.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see if that's going to change anything for this particular one.
I agree. I think we need to see the impact to be able to make that decision before making that recommendation.
So Scott, I have a question. When we do the traffic analysis, it's based on axles, right? Not weight.
Correct.
So when you're looking at axles 2.5 versus 5-ton, like what are we talking about in terms of what we're eliminating?
Well, it's axles and wheels. So a heavy 4-wheeled vehicle is not the same as a heavy 6-wheeled vehicle. So they all have their own classification. As you get bigger, the classification number goes up. So I think what DOT is doing is the right thing. It doesn't make a lot of sense. So we have these F550 dual axle dump bodies that a lot of landscapers have. Those are heavy commercial vehicles. It doesn't make a lot of sense that should be excluded from a road. It's not what everybody thinks of, which is a large dump truck or a tractor trailer. I think shifting it up the range is a good decision. But you're right, Bill. I would like to look at the data and Chris to look at the data first.
Any other questions, concerns on this one? I would hate to make the change and then have somebody challenge it later and, in court or something. I mean, I don't know that they would challenge it for a $300 fine, but, if they did challenge it and all of a sudden we found out, oh, we weren't supposed to have that.
My suggestion would be to do a more expansive review of our truck exclusions, Maple, Collins, see how it'll impact other roads. And once we change one, then somebody could say, hey, why did you not look at Collins or Maple Street and look through that old data and say, okay, yes, this doesn't impact any of them. Let's go to 5-ton, or we would lose Maple Street because it doesn't meet that criteria before it's a spot decision as opposed to a more blanket decision for the community.
Right. Well, and I think the other issue is going to be you can't really do a traffic study while you have an exclusion on there, right? Because there's not going to be any traffic to study.
That doesn't work well.
So-
You're right.
So, if some of these, like the Whitney one, has been in for a while, right? Even the traffic information may not be valid anymore. And it's still, I would be concerned about opening up that can of worms.
I mean, we would look through the old data. So when we did the Maple Street truck exclusion in 2018, 19, you look through that data and see will there be an impact? Is there a gripe, so to speak?
Right. Okay. So yeah, so we'll table that one for now until, Scott, if you and Josh can just take a look at that data, since that's sort of recent still.
Okay.
Let's see. Barefoot and Whitney. Yeah, I don't see any way around covering that sign and letting trucks go down Whitney Street.
Mr. Chairman, we have the speed limit signs on Fay Lane on the agenda first.
Oh, sorry.
Yep, no
I
problem.
missed that one. Yep, you're right. So speed limit signs on Fay Lane. Remind me about that one?
Josh, you wanna take the thoroughfare that is Fay Lane?
Yes, we had spoken about this at our last meeting. There was a resident that had complained about cars speeding, mostly coming from Church Street, heading down Fay Lane. I thought I had recalled seeing a speed limit sign out there, one of the electronic ones that shows not a speed limit sign, but a vehicle speed sign that shows how fast the cars are going. And so I reached out, and we did actually have a sign out there this year. It was out there from July 18th through July 24th. And it took the speed of the cars out there, it recorded the speed, and it gave us several different charts. Scott and I went over these charts, and what it appears to show on the charts is that there's not many cars that are going over the speed limit over there. There's one chart that has the percentage of vehicles speeding. It's typically around 5 to 6% of vehicles that are going over 30 miles an hour there. We also have one that has daily average speeds. Daily average speeds range between 23 and 25 miles per hour. So it looks like, we've already got some traffic data out there. Doesn't appear to be a lot of cars speeding out there. So it appears that all the the average speeds are lower than 25. So, if we were to lower the speed limit, it would probably be to 25, but it looks like that's already what's happening out there. So I don't really see the need to do any additional investigation out there. I don't know if I don't recall if I sent this information to everybody on the committee, but I can send it out now if you'd like.
Yeah, please, so that we
Right.
have it.
Yeah,
Uh,
I grabbed the wrong ones. I have my Otis Street ones because someone else complained about that to me. So I grabbed the wrong stack for this. But when I put it up on Fay, I actually think I might have more than just that week. I think it was like might have been at least 2 weeks, but it essentially there's no speeding problem on Fay Lane at all. I think there was 2 vehicles that were in like the 45 to 50 or around 50, but whenever I put these signs up, there's always 1 or 2. And more often than not, it's someone trying to see how high they can get the sign up to. When you get like that much of an outlier, it's just someone messing with it. Which is why I have them shut off. If you're going 15 miles an hour over the speed limit, it just goes blank to try to cut down on that. So
That's a good idea, Tom.
yeah, so yeah,
we had a
just,
99-mile-an-hour motorcycle on Bartlett Street
yeah,
when we did
they
that
just
speed
have
study.
the blank dashes. So I have it set that it starts blinking as soon as you're 1 mile an hour over the speed limit, and then at 15 it just it blanks. So if you want, as I run these, as we get complaints, I can just forward this data to the committee in general, just so everyone can see. I mean, it's got all sorts of. It's got the 85th percentile, which is actually what they usually use to set speed limits, and some people would be upset to find out, not Fay Lane, but other roads. It's a 30 and 85% of the cars are going 35 miles an hour. They'll raise the speed limit on you. So
Right.
you got to pick your poison, but it's got all sorts of good data in those signs. We just kind of started using them for that. So I will include you guys and start forwarding whenever we get complaints. I can set it up I try to do it for 2 to 3 weeks, depending on how long the battery lasts, and collect it, and I'll just get it to you guys.
Okay.
That sounds good to me. I think you're right though. I think doing anything, no sign is going to stop that 45 mile per hour person, regardless. So it's good data to have. Thank you.
Are there any, I know I didn't ask this before and we probably should have. There are no accidents that you're aware of on Fay Lane?
I didn't look into it, but I've never heard of one, and I've been at the department about 18 years. And I don't recall one. I can certainly look it up. Maybe there was one, but I'm not aware. I don't think there's ever been one that I'm aware of.
I don't recall one either in the past decade.
Yeah,
So.
I think, for now, I think we just say, that, you're right. The data is the data. We've got speed data now on that street. So
I will say the data that I have is for, and I think it's what the complaint was, so that worked out, is going from Church towards Valentine.
okay.
Unfortunately, there's nothing. There's no houses. It's just all like brush and woods. So there's not even a place for me to attach a sign
Right.
going the other way, getting data Valentine towards Church. Because I usually try to get both sides of the street. You set one up for a couple of weeks and then put one going the other way just to get so you can round it out. But on Fay, there wasn't a place to put one. But the complaint was from Church to Valentine, so that's what we have anyway.
Okay. Yeah. So now let me ask this. We don't generally make that data publicly available, correct?
We can. I've sent it to residents. Residents, they've emailed me multiple times complaining about speeds. I'll say I'll put a sign up. I'll get all the data, and then I'll send it to them saying, "This is what I got from the 2 weeks the sign was on your road. Either there is a problem, we'll have people sit there, or there's not much of a problem. Well, we can still have people sit there for those outliers, but we're also going to focus on other roads that have major problems."
Right. So I think we can offer that, in the response. they're welcome to review the data themselves.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to run it and every time post it somewhere doing this and that. It's,
Right.
but if I get a complaint, I like to show them like, yep, you're right. Here's a problem. We'll focus on this. Or it's not as big of a problem as you think. Obviously there's speeding cars everywhere, but there's only a couple. It's less than 2% of the cars on the road. We got other things to focus on.
Right. Yep. Agreed. So Scott, you're okay writing that letter back?
Yeah, we'll
Okay.
provide a response indicating the percentages and where the average is and provide her, if you like the data, we're happy to provide it. Then we'll see where it goes.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. Now Whitney Street, right?
Yeah. So I got some news from Mass DOT that the bridge crossing the railroad tracks on Whitney Street up by Santa Anzo's property before you get to Forbes. That bridge has a weight restriction. Everybody knows that. The bridge has deteriorated since the last evaluation by the state. It's a state bridge, not the town's, and it's likely that there will be further restrictions on that bridge. I don't know
Okay.
if it's going to be a single lane bidirectional straddling the center line because it's the exterior beams that are deteriorated, or if I'm not sure what the state's going to do, but there's going to be a further restriction. So I think whatever we can do to get the community acclimated to not going in that direction in a heavy commercial vehicle, the better off we are. It's going to end up becoming a possible enforcement struggle. I've followed cranes going across that bridge in the past few years, tractor trailers, and just inform them that you can't go on this bridge. It's not appropriate. So when we did reach out to DOT about how we prevent tractor trailers from barefoot taking a right, they said just put that sign up, no right turn trucks, left turn only, and bag the truck exclusion in that direction alone. Because
Okay.
the truck exclusion was adopted by the select board, I think should go in the normal direction, Mr. Chairman, where this committee considers, not necessarily tonight, but considers and votes a recommendation to the select board, and the select board says yes, bag the signs, alter the signs based on blah, 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 blah. And it may be appropriate to wait until DOT does a formal amendment to the bridge crossing so they can all be bundled up together.
Okay. Yeah, I don't, like I said, I don't see any other way around that really. Sergeant McDonald, quick question. A bridge restriction like that, is that enforceable by the police at all, or?
Yeah, if it's posted, there's a weight restriction violation. Yeah.
I'm wondering because I will tell you, I live between Barefoot and that bridge, and I see trucks every day
Right.
going down that direction. I don't know if we need to, maybe if you can get a day or two to just, keep an eye out on that area and just let them know, hey, you gotta listen to those big yellow signs that are there. There's a reason they're there.
It's almost like it's like Wolf and the trucking companies down the end of the street. Like if they're coming off of 290, they need to go through Berlin, through the rotaries, which I
Right.
don't know if they can even make that new little rotary they put in. They'll probably end up going right over that with the trailer, but you have to come in from that way essentially. But like you said, you're still also the issue a lot of times with truckers is they go to that place. They're not regulars. You might get a guy that goes there once every few months, and it's like you stop him, you write him a ticket. It's not really solving that problem for him. You get the same guy going over it 4 times a day. You write him tickets, it makes a difference. You understand? What I'm kind of getting.
Yeah, but also I will say that they're just ignoring the sign because they go over the bridge, right? It's not
Right,
like
right.
they could, they could go down Coolidge and go down Stone and turn around and come back and go back down Barefoot if they were really acknowledging that there's a bad bridge.
Yeah, because what's the sign talks about, yeah, it's the weight limit on the bridge, and by the time you get the, I mean, the problem that I've noticed with stopping, I stop trucks on Whitney Street further up the road all the time because you obviously had to come on here from somewhere. Is
Right.
it seems like, as scary as this is, they don't read signs as much anymore as they follow whatever their GPS tells them to do. They don't. It's like, well, you're supposed to be a professional driver. There's a sign that says you can't go down this road. You don't go down the road. And like, well, GPS said you get it every time. So you're fighting a battle there, unless I don't know. You can somehow. I mean, they have specific routes. I know they program those. I know nothing about them. Or if DOT has an update that they put out that goes into truck drivers' GPSs, I have no idea how any of that works, but that would be helpful.
So DOT granted Northborough Emergency Services, police, fire, DPW, a waiver from the current weight restriction if we do 15 miles an hour and we straddle the WL center line. The indication is that is going to be rescinded. That was enacted in 2018. The fact that it's been 7 years and the bridge has deteriorated so much that they are no longer going to allow a F550 dual rear axle dump body across it tells me that bridge is not in good condition.
Well, yeah, and it sounds to me that that's a bigger priority than the trucks in the area. They should be fixing the bridge, right?
Did they say if it was on any list or anything? Can it qualify for any funding?
It's on a list. I guess the Federal Highway Administration has come out with a more stringent interpretation of bridge ratings recently. We're not the only community suffering from this problem. We're not the worst. There are other ones that close it. And, this is a state bridge. It's not the towns. We're not responsible for paying to repair it or remove it or what have you. But it's across the Commonwealth that this is occurring. So we're not unique. Is the bridge on Whitney Street across the railroad tracks over by Forbes Road the highest critical bridge that the Commonwealth of Mass is concerned with? I don't think it is. So I'm not sure what the disposition is going to be. I do expect it to be changing soon when it comes to the traffic across it. So I wanted to give the community an alert, and also think that maybe we piggyback DOT's restrictions with our bagging of signs and the like.
Do you have any idea when that might happen?
I'm not sure. It could be in the coming, year. It could be 2 months. However quickly DOT District 3 can act on it. I know that they're kind of scrambling with the new initiative by the federal government. But we'll, I got an email today with no warning that said, by the way, here's your letter. So I expect the next one will be the same thing. Here's an email. We're doing this now. So.
Yeah. Okay. Why don't we do this? We'll give it like 2 months. And then in our December meeting, if we haven't heard anything, let's vote on it and we'll send the recommendation to the select board at that point.
That sounds good, Mr. Chairman.
Is everyone okay with that?
That sounds good to me.
Okay.
Maybe by then we'll have an answer.
Hopefully.
I like a list of all the bridges in the Commonwealth that I shouldn't be driving over. Can I get that somewhere, Scott?
I don't think you want that list. That could be scary.
As I say, there's gonna be a lot of them you don't want to be going over.
Yeah.
And I think a very hot vacation spot would
As long as they're not
be
over the
one of those
MBTA, right, Bill?
Yes.
Yeah. I won't even go into our bridges.
yeah.
Those aren't even MassDOT. So,
Scott, is there anything as a town we can do to push that bridge up any type of list? I know it's state owned, but
Well, I think
Considering
once-
it's trickling down from the federal government, I'm guessing the funding and remediation approach will be driven by roadway classification, criticality, and the like. So this probably doesn't rank very high
yeah.
in those
Yeah.
on those
I
categories.
mean, the only thing the select board could do, part of our recommendation could be, that they write a letter to our local state reps and federal reps, right? And let them know, hey, because one of the things to keep in mind is that I believe they keep all the school buses at Solomon Pond Mall, right? How many of those are actually going over that bridge?
Yeah, and I guess my other question too is how does that delay emergency response times? Like, is it a significant change in that? That I don't know off the top of my head, obviously, but I guess that's one question I'm thinking. If we can't even have them go 15 miles per hour over it, the person that lives just on the other side of that bridge, how does that impact them in an emergency?
Well, I'm
did-
thinking more along the lines of a fire truck not being able to go over the bridge,
Right,
right? If
exactly.
you remove that exclusion, now the fire truck can't go over it, so they got to go down barefoot up Solomon Pond around that rotary to get to a
Right.
fire, Aspen or something.
Exactly. Yeah, that's my point there. They can't even if they can't even go over the double center line slowly. Now they have to go all the way around. I guess how much time does that add to something that could
Right.
be critical?
Not as much time as it's going to take to plow it with an F-350.
No, I heard you were going to go out there and shovel it, Scott.
Snow blower.
It's snow blowers. Kate's going to have the ultimate snow
Walk
blower
back
out
and
there.
forth.
Okay, so we'll table that one till December. And then we'll bring it up in December for a vote. Gonna put you on the hot seat, Sergeant McDonald. You weren't here when we were talking about Pierce and Church Street.
Yep.
So
I didn't
suggesting-
watch that video. I watched the talk, and my only addition that I wasn't able to make then that I would make now is I would guess 95% of the people that make that illegal left are just trying to avoid the center of town. Has nothing to do with CVS. It has nothing to do with not knowing they can't do it. They don't want to go up Hudson, sit at that light, and then go through the two sets of lights in the center. They cut behind, they make the illegal left, they can take a right at on Church and West Main and go about their day.
Yep.
So my hope is
You don't need to
once the fire department's built and not on there anymore, you extend that island 12 feet further down Church Street and it solves itself.
Yeah.
But the only reason it hasn't done that is because the FD needs to get out of that street as well.
Right.
So it'll be an easy fix once the fire department leaves Pierce Street.
Well, it'll be an easy fix if the town decides to fund it.
Right.
We'll leave it at that.
Quick correction, it's an easy fix if DOT is willing to listen to us. That's their intersection.
They
Oh,
own,
is-
they own
Well,
Church
that-
Street too. Yeah.
At Pearson Church.
Yeah,
Mm,
they own that intersection.
Yeah.
Oh.
That
Back to
island,
the preemptive light. There's a Opticom light in advance. Tom, you're aware of that one.
Yeah.
They own all the way back up to that that mast arm.
Okay.
so the island on Church though would be them too, or would the town own that?
Nah, that's theirs.
That's theirs, all right. Because
Yeah.
that would be the solution. I mean,
Yeah.
again, you stop someone, it's painted on the road, right turn only. There's a no left turn sign. We did our best to make it obvious you can't do this, and they don't want to sit through 3 lights. They'd rather make the quick left and go about their day.
And we're
So,
happy to
yeah.
put the request in to DOT once the new fire station's online. Maybe there's another traffic pattern or two that needs to be adjusted and some timing at the lights, and you kind of put that all together. Take away the preemptive
Yeah,
mast arm.
I guess the only thing that would mess it up though, if you move that island back, it would make it the harder left from Church onto Pierce. It would affect that, so that would be an issue, but.
Yeah, and there's not a lot of
It would
room
be
to be able to add to the roadway at that intersection. You've got that building that's right there.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Sometimes those, and Chris, you may be able to help me. You know, the non-permanent channelizing, like they used to have them on Route 20, where they had the bidirectional 50 mile an hour over in Oxford.
Mhm.
Mhm.
You know, that area where you just put a couple of those where, you know, emergency vehicle could pop right over it, but generally it's just keep an eye out, or a scored area where
Yeah.
you know, something like that. A
I was
rumble
thinking
strip.
maybe even like the yellow marker type of things that stand up.
Yeah,
You
that's
see
what I'm talking
those.
about.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah, the rumble
something like
strip
that.
on the yellow line and those posts.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
Something a
easy.
little
It's
less invasive.
short money. DOT may be more willing to do that if it comes from the select board and PD and FD and the likes.
Okay.
That was that.
Okay, we'll put that one on the back burner for now. And then the RRFBs.
Yep.
What
We got
what is I saw the setup on Church Street and they're just sort of sitting there. So I was just curious.
It's a process. So our paving contractor has been hired to install 2 rounds of RRFBs. One was ARPA funded, and the other one is the Mass DOT a grant award. And the first round, the ARPA funded, all the equipment is in. The contractor actually came to the yard today to fumble through it to make sure he has what he needs to start the installation process. You've seen I hope you've seen the wheelchair ramps and concrete panels that are there and the curbing. The contractor will be starting Friday or Monday installing the assemblies at the approved locations, Lincoln, Pleasant, and the likes. The second round from Mass DOT, the ones that are mid-block on Indian Meadow, there's on a couple on Hudson Street. Those are ready to be ordered by Mass DOT. I'm waiting on direction from our contractor if he wants to do them this winter, because there's a long lead time on them, or wait till the spring. So good news, the ARPA ones will be installed in the coming month or so, you know, 2 full weeks. The DOT ones, if they want to put them in December and January, wonderful. If not, because they just can't, then we'll wait till the spring.
Okay. I thought there was a question about some funding or something that was needed for those, but that's fully
There was a
funded, right?
question. It sort of worked itself out. I went to the select board and indicated to them that we were awarded 7 sets, and at a prior select board meeting when we were requesting them, I indicated to the select board if we receive 2 or 3, the town can install them. It's not our full-time job, so it would take us, you know, weeks or months, who knows, depending on what's going on in town, to install them. But if we receive all of what we request, we're gonna have to hire it out. We received all that we requested, 7 of them. The select board directed us to fund it out of our out of our capital budget for pavement improvements. About 2 weeks thereafter, so that was approximately $200,000 for installation. About 2 weeks later, Mass DOT came out and the legislator came out and said, we're increasing Chapter 90 from 200 million to 300 million this year, which provides the town an additional $250,000. So the gap in our paving program that existed to install these of 200 grand was made up by the additional funding for Chapter 90. So all in all, it's net zero for the town. We're paving just as many roads. We're getting more RFBs installed at no cost or impact to the taxpayers.
Okay, good. It's nice when it all works out in the end. It's not done yet, right?
I didn't plan it that way. It just fell out of the sky.
Okay, so next on the agenda, I just want to take a look. There's nobody in the gallery, so approval of the August 12th meeting minutes. Did everyone get a chance to review them? Is there a motion to approve the August 12th meeting minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve them. The August 12th meeting
Okay.
minutes.
Is
Second,
there a second?
second,
Okay, seconded by Rachel. Roll call vote, Rachel,
I,
Kate,
Aye.
Chris,
Aye.
and I'm an I. Next meeting is, I should have had my calendar up and I don't.
I believe it's October 14th.
October 14th. Yep. And do we want to talk about going to 6:30 for that meeting?
Please.
Does that work for everybody?
Except Chris.
See what I can do.
The kids are
If
quiet.
we,
Oh,
We'll
that's
give it a
because I was
shot,
on
and if
mute.
we-
She was yelling at my ear
He's
for
on
a bit.
Wish I had that in my hallway.
6:37 doesn't matter to me. It all messes up hockey, so.
Yeah, no, that's good. If that's the general consensus, that's good.
yeah, we'll give it a try. And if it doesn't work for somebody, then, let me know and, we can talk about going back to 7. So,
Is that going to be for next month? Is that what we're saying? We're going to give it a
yeah,
go?
next month we'll do 6:30.
I don't want to be late.
And then the other thing is I want to do a reminder that we elect our officers in January. So that's going to be coming up. I am not going to be running as chairman again. So I'd like everyone to start thinking about if you'd like to take that officer position. My real job has just exploded. And I really don't have the time I'm going to stay on the committee, but I don't have the time to do the kind of work that this committee really needs to be done. So I would ask that, just start thinking about it. If you have any questions, reach out, let me know. And with that, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
second, oh, sorry.
Seconded by Chris. Roll call vote. Chris,
Aye.
Kate,
Aye.
Rachel,
I.
and I'm an I.